Yes. Hello and welcome to the Federal Postal Court. I'm Federal Postal Judge Russell-J. Gould. This is Corporation Case Number RE 881-080-581 US. The fee's been paid for the bills of the lading for Corporation between the claimant Tyshawn-Lamarcus Dispenza, who is in the Federal Postal Court hearing today, and the Vasily is the Internal Revenue Service. Is the Internal Revenue Service here on this day? The Internal Revenue Service, with fee for freight for the transshipment of their contract for their specific location in 230 South Dearborn Street here in Chicago, Illinois, has been summoned, has been given 3-day notice under the rescission timeline for closure of this hearing on this specific day. I've autographed the postage stamps, which fee for freight has been paid, and I'm logging them into evidence on this day. So the Internal Revenue Service, are you here? We'll wait our timeline on that. The rules and the guidelines for the docketing of this Federal Postal Court are in the constitution of this vessel contract. Tyshawn and myself have autographed a stamp which makes us corporate, and under consent under Title 42, 1986, I have been presented or been given knowledge of a grammar fraud on contract that Tyshawn has placed and I have placed into evidence and bonded to our Constitution contract. The Constitution itself are the guidelines for which we will conduct this hearing. The Federal Postal Court was established with a corporation claim number with David-Wynne-Coleman-Miller and myself at the Benjamin Franklin Postal Court in Pennsylvania, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, on December 21st, 2012. That corporation oath is on file with the Chicago, Illinois International Port Authority on 3600 East 4th Street, 95th and Lakefront here in Chicago, Illinois. It is also on file with the nearest federal postal station in compliance with Title 46, Section 314 for shipping. And the fee's been paid for freight, and I've autographed the stamps as well on that. So they have closure that my oath is on file with corporation between David and myself to be in this Illinois venue, which gives me authorization to be aboard this charter vessel Constitution. The contract itself is a vessel. It floats through the sea of space. The guidelines for this hearing are to perform with correct communication, parsing, syntax, grammar. What that means is that we have certification with corporation between Tyshawn-Lamarcus Dispenza and myself to have consent under Title 28, Document Contract Claims, Section 636. Now, we don't use the United States codes because all guidelines and rules and regulations for all 4 million statutes, codes, and rules for the United States legal system is written in modification language, where they've used adverbs in front of verbs, adverbs in front of adjectives, and adverbs in front of adjectives, and adjectives in front of pronouns in the syntax, which is the way that they bring their sentence structure together. And I could prove that through a mathematical equation that this is engineered to be 100% fraud. So aboard our contract, Tyshawn and myself, who have autographed the stamp, we have consent, we have knowledge that a fraud is being conveyed. And under Title 46, Title 42, 1986, we are stopping and correcting. Joint as a corporation. The only thing that is on the table here in this vessel market today is the forensic evidence of the lawsuit, the quo warranto summons, and the authorization to dock our vessel here, which is filed at the port authorities in the nearest post office to this location. So at this time, I'm going to talk a little bit about some of the qualifications of correct sentence structure, communication, parsing, syntax, grammar, and what that means for Tyshawn as he comes into contract with this Constitution. On Tyshawn's evidence, which is here, the style that is given for his performance and his cooperation with his performance is done in a box by the Vasilis, who are not here to correspond on why they used a box on their vessel contract. Anything in a box is not on the page. So it breaks the continuance from one thought to another, but then it voids it by placing it in the box. So on the evidence that Tyshawn has conveyed on this specific corporation case, relevant only to this specific corporation case, there is a box around all the performance closure within the box. So anything within the box isn't there, so this is virtually a blank sheet of paper. However, there are a few words that are formulated outside the box, but the words are in no symbolism or no syntax as a sentence, other than they come in form as an adjective and a pronoun. So they're bringing two concepts together, which creates adjective pronoun scenarios around the outside form of these boxes that say nothing. At this time, Tyshawn says he has some new evidence that he would like to dock within this corporation case. Would you like to do that still?
Yeah. Yes.
You would.
Okay.
Would the Internal Revenue Service contest us docking these vessels within the corporation case? Once again, this is under Rule 1 and Rule Equal for fairness and closure, since the Internal Revenue Service has been given knowledge that they're supposed to be here through the summons and through the Charter Vessel Constitution of the location of this court hearing today. Once again, I ask, do you contest us placing this into evidence? Internal Revenue Service, do you contest us placing this into evidence? There's no contest here, Tyshawn. I can take that into evidence. We have syntaxed this. We'll look at the syntaxing, and I will bond this to the summary judgment as we move forward here. On this specific evidence, there is in your styles of syntax a new Vasily that is entered into this case, the Department of the Treasury. So this will be new evidence. And we have assigned cursive, anything cursive authorization on the back here. So I will give this gentleman full closure of this hearing today. He has 21-day correspondence back to correspond with this. So I'll present that when I post my summary judgment. Let's talk a little bit more about grammar and the styles of grammar, which will be your cooperation to perform in correct communication, parsing, syntax, grammar, to pay for the payment of your taxes in the correct communication, parsing, syntax, grammar performance. What this means, Tyshawn, Lamarcus, Dispenza, is that you will be given a command for the pay, so you pay your taxes. Granted, the codes, the laws, the rules, the regulation, the paperwork that the Vasilis, the Internal Revenue Service, and now the Department of Treasury will have to convey to you will have to be in correct communication, parsing, syntax, grammar construct, which means the styles that it is conveyed to you, so you don't participate in Title 18 Document Contract Claims Section 1340 2 under mail fraud. So we don't want you to commit any mail fraud here, which is in compliance with your charter vessel constitution, document contract section 2. Okay, so you're going to want to study that, and if you see any mail fraud under Title 18 section, document contract claim section 1342, mail fraud, then you cannot participate with that, which means that if the syntax that comes to your dwelling or your location has to be in correct form. Okay, so that you need to be cognizant of that so you can cooperate for the payment of your taxes. Does the Internal Revenue Service contest that on this day? No correspondence back there. Okay, so there's no contest on that. So you have full closure on what needs to be articulated as far as that goes. Some of these words that are being used in your new evidence, let's take a look at some of the parse, which means we're going to break those words down into its form of closure. So you have a word here, internal. So let's look. But in as a prefix means no. Is earth. And